Hi, this is video number 6 in the African Mission Healthcare Financial Management series. And this will be probably the quickest video I've ever done for this series, as we're going to talk quickly about 4 key roles in the finance area. And there's 4 roles. Now, these 4 roles can be played by one person, they could be played by 4 people, or they could be departments, depending on the size of your institution and its particular needs. But it's still very critical to think about these 4 roles and think about the types of people that you need for each of them. And while small institutions can make do, in larger institutions, you often develop and need different skills and different personal attributes to do these roles. So overall, there's typically a CFO or a finance director who is the one person who is responsible for internal and external stakeholder reporting for the institution's finances. They're the one member of the management team who not only has a seat at the table and is helping make the key decisions of the organization, but they're also responsible for making sure that management has the information it needs to make high quality decisions. And so often next to the CEO or the head of an institution, the CFO is oftentimes the second person in charge, or the second most seasoned member of management, although that's not always true. The treasurer is responsible for managing cash, both cash coming into the organization, the receipt of cash, as well as cash going out of the organization, and ultimately is responsible for managing liquidity, which is having enough cash on hands to pay the bills. As we've referenced the cash flow statement, the treasurer plays a very key role in the cash flow statement. The controller is the chief accountant, the chief bookkeeper, and is responsible also typically for the analytics of the financial information. And the responsibility of keeping the books makes them a key member of the management team, the expanded management team, making sure that all 3 financial statements that we talked about are well prepared and thoughtfully prepared, that there's a degree of rigor and integrity in those, but then also consuming that information. They're often playing a role doing forecasting and things like that, looking to make sure that revenue tries to stay ahead of expenses where possible, that assets continue to grow relative to liabilities, and we grow equity. That's a very important responsibility, as well as understanding the accounting conventions that are either required to be used or desired to be used for their institution. The last role is the risk manager, and this is a person who's responsible for leading the management team in identifying and assessing all the risks that face the institution and manage the organization's taking of risk. So a very key role and responsibility as well. So if we're going to expand and open a new clinic somewhere or open a new service or something like that, the risk manager is responsible for looking at the risk reward of doing that, but then also the downside risk of doing that, and making sure that the management team is prepared, not only by considering the various things that could go wrong, but also helping make a decision of whether those things should be done in the first place. And the risk manager is often thought to manage a portfolio of risks. So again, it could be 4 people doing these roles, could be 1 person doing all of these roles, or any combination. And in large institutions, these are usually separate departments. There's some value in a segregation of duties here. For example, the treasurer being separate from the CFO or finance director can be useful. The treasurer has a very, very key role in being overseen by the finance director is usually a good managerial subordinate relationship to ensure the cash receipt process has integrity and that the outflows of cash are also well managed, just as one example.